Hello guys, welcome back to Garage Football, where we've just watched West Ham play Chelsea at London Stadium, where it finished West Ham 0, Chelsea 1. So subscribe to Garage Football if you're new, and leave your match thoughts, comments, etc. in the live chat. We'll get to those. So joined by Dennis and then John. Dennis, we've been chatting for 2 hours on our watch along earlier, so we'll start with John first. Thoughts on that? Thoughts on the defeat, mate?
Bar in the goal, I thought we did all right. I thought we defended, especially in the first half. I thought we played very, very well. Fabianski with some very easy saves to a degree, but defensive, as Gabidon was saying at half time, the defensive shape was really good. Very impressed with how we were able to keep them quiet. But 15 seconds of switching off, and there you go. It's 1-0. For me personally, Balbuena and Souček could have done a lot better. Miscommunication again between the two of them. I think, to be fair, I think Balbuena makes a bit more of an effort than Souček does from watching the replays a few times. But overall, I thought we played well. And to quote David Moyes of what he literally just said a couple of minutes ago, it's a rubbish red card.
Oh, mate, yeah. I'm shocked. I'm actually staggered that was given us a red card, but we'll talk about that later. Dennis, thoughts on the game overall, mate?
Well, I'm going to say one sentence. Your assets strip a football team and you wonder what happens.
Yeah, how many times has that been said over the past few months?
Few years, mate, to be fair. But
few years, yeah. Not half,
yeah, but more than now the last few months.
But overall, overall in the game, Dennis, how do you think West Ham played or not?
I'll be honest, I'm reluctant to even comment because it's harsh, because the players that were out there did what they could, but they were set up to fail. And they were not set up to fail by the Moyes. They were not set up to fail by the coaching staff. They were set up to fail by the parasites that own this football club.
I'll say what you mean, mate. The injuries obviously to key players in particular.
Injuries are a given. We could have predicted these injuries in January. We always said, "Oh well, sod's law, Rice and Souček will get injured, and look what happens." And one of them has, and look what happens.
And Mikey and Creswell and
and what happens? Oh well, Moyes is happy with the squad. Bullshit. Was Moyes happy with that squad? Moyes wouldn't be happy with the squad being that thin. Bullshit.
Pellegrini said exactly the same thing in his second season.
I know, and Bilic said the same thing after missing out on Carvalho, and Allardyce said the same thing. Blah 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 blah. Honestly, until we get a 50+ rule in the Premier League, we're going to have the same issues with the parasites that run this football club, and they are parasites.
Especially with the fair play rules being waived this season, because funnily enough, Real Madrid and Juventus and Barcelona are in deep shit.
Irrelevant of fair play, whatever. It doesn't make any excuse. That was just an excuse for them to hide behind.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point.
No, they are parasites. That's what they are. They're fucking parasites.
I mean, as a football fan base, we're way before this shit that happened six days ago. Yeah, we've been saying for a while that football's been dead for a long time. Personally, it's when we started having names on the backs of the shirts and the sponsorships. That's the start of the corruption. It's the start of the corruption.
I mean, it's not a problem for me, but I get that's where it seeped in. That's where it seeped in. I get what you're saying.
Because every single aspect of football, UEFA, FIFA, Premier League, the FA, owners, there's so much corruption now because of the amount of money that's in football. But at the same point, you can also argue that when the wage cap was removed and when the price caps were removed, that's the other start of the corruption in football. But at the same time, you know, I'm not a big advocate of GSB in any shape or form, and I've been saying many times that this where we are in the season, wherever we end up over the next 5 games, is because of David Moyes and in spite of the board.
100%.
And
100%.
This is Moyes' argument. I said it during my watch along. This is Moyes' argument. This is what we can do if we've just got this squad. Imagine what we can do when we bring another 4 or 5 players in.
Imagine if we weren't earned by a bunch of fucking parasites. That's it. That's the comment. That's the tweet. That's the statement. Just imagine what we could do. We're only a couple of points off Leicester. We're now 3 points off Chelsea. Spoiler, we weren't at the beginning of the day. Wonder why. But just imagine if we had owners that were not total cunts. And we maybe bought someone in fucking January, like they were available to, that David Moyes is forced to read out this almost like, you know what it's like? You know what it's like when one of our managers has to read out that same old speech that I'm happy. It's like when a politician has been caught with a fucking prosy or something, right?
There we go. Politics. Dennis Bingo. Politics.
No. Whoa. This ain't the politics. But it's like a home secretary's embarrassed from whatever he's been with some brass or whatever, and just goes, "I'm very sorry," in front of the family home. That's what it's like for David Moyes. He's like he's having to read out this sentence against his will. That's what it's like for David Moyes. I feel really bad for David Moyes. He has to put up with this bullshit. It's constant bullshit.
Because I had the very, very similar conversation with Nikki from West Ham Fan TV on one of the fan cams I did under Pellegrini. And Nikki asked me, I can't remember what the question was, but I said, mate, it goes back further than Pellegrini. We had the same bullshit under Allardyce. We had the same bullshit under Bilic.
The mouthpiece, and now Moyes has the power to turn around and tell them, well, fans are on side with me. I guarantee you're happy with Moyes, aren't you? With what he's done.
I'm surprised with Moyes, to be fair.
So if Moyes turns around and tells the board, you know what? Fuck you. I want this, or you can face the fans.
You're absolutely right, mate. I mean, if we finish in the top 6, which is pretty much all but nailed on it as it stands at the minute, bearing in mind the run. Hang on. Let me talk for a minute. With the run that we've got in, we're pretty much nailed on to finish 5th, maybe 6th, right? If Moyes goes to the 2 owners and say we're saying, look, imagine what we can do, and then say, well, no, you've only got 60 million available. Nobody would argue with Moyes if he walked away. I
don't think they think he goes 60. I think
this is the point, because it's always going to be sell before you buy, right? But with the league, if we finish 5th, right? If we finish 5th, we get £29 million alone for that table position, and if we finish in 6th, we get, was it 25th, 25, 26? Well, it's about 2.5 million per table position. That's enough to go out and get a striker on top of, or a player on top of the plan that he's already got, right? So that's that. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Moyes wasn't being backed and he walked away because he hasn't had the new contract yet. Let's not forget, he hasn't had the new contract yet. So if he could literally do what's the Irish manager who used to be Aston Villa? Martin O'Neill. When Martin O'Neill walked away from Villa 2 weeks before the Premier League started because he wasn't getting backed with the players and the money that he needed, and that the club should have done. We would hold Moyes in high regards for doing that. I mean, let's be honest, guys. From a footballing perspective, over the last week, everybody's on the same level with the so-called top 6 shit. Right, we've been feeling this for years. Right, the core of the Arsenal base were told the same bullshit when they moved from Highbury to the Emirates. So we need to move so we can progress and we can compete. It's practically word for word what the 2 David said in their press conference when they took over 11 and a half years ago. Practically word for word. And this is the problem. Everybody's copying each other. And as a result of it, it's another nail in football's coffin, because at the end of the day, You know, we want to go and see West Ham playing as best as they can every single week. Nothing wrong with that in any shape. Nothing wrong with that in any shape or form. But at the same point, there's only so much Moyes can do with a squad of this size.
And it goes back to something I said. Look, it's ever so slightly off topic, but it is related to this topic in that. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet that I put up about in response to Talk Sport saying that fans shouldn't be banned. Sorry, you should punish the top 6 because of the fans. Now, it doesn't matter if you saw it or not, but my point remains is that one of the things I want. So, I messaged Lee Clayton, and he was like, "Yeah, I agree with you. I'll have you on." And I had something typed up that I wanted to say, and then they never called me. But there was something I wanted to say for West Ham fans in particular. So, irrelevant of all that, irrelevant of the top 6, whatever, is that this season, I don't know about you guys, but under the latter stages of Pellegrini, just before COVID, I couldn't be bothered with West Ham too much. I was a West Ham fan, but I'd lost a lot of interest. It was, for fuck's sake, another relegation battle. Great. Typical Golden Sullivan meddling, whatever. But this season has really changed things for me. This season, I've fallen in love with West Ham again. You know? This season, like, I watch games, and Angus, Corey, Charles will know. Compared to last season, I'm like, you know what? I'd back us to get a goal. Go on, Mickey. Go on, whoever, you know? And, you know, it takes a lot to say that as much as I'm annoyed about the board and much as I'm annoyed at the club, I fucking love this club. And I love watching us play this season. And I love watching us play under Moyes. But you take the Super League into that. Why do our clubs bother? You know, and I know it's irrelevant in this conversation because we're not talking about that. But back to the conversation is that this, honestly, what's really frustrating for me, based on what we've spoken this night, is that we can do so much more.
Yeah.
We can do so much better than what we've got. And our fans fucking deserve it. They fucking deserve it compared to what we've had. And we deserve so much better.
One thing I will say about Graham Souness is you shouldn't punish the fans bullshit that he came out on TalkSport.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
There is again. We talked about it in the watch along because it was, let's face it, guys, it was fuck all to talk about for most of the first half. That there is more to life than being a football supporter in the Premier League, right? If I said I've maintained this for as long as I can remember. As long as West Ham are trading, I'm watching them. Right? It doesn't matter if we're in the Premier League, the Championship, League One, League Two, Van Rama Conference, the fucking Iron Brew. If we ever got that bad, do you know what I mean? There is more to life than the Premier League. The reason why Graham Souness has said what he said was because Sky are in bed with the Premier League. As far as Sky are concerned, the Premier League is the only league that has ever existed, unless there's some stupid stat that they can pull up from 40 or 50 years ago or 30 years ago. That's it. That's all it is. And it really gets on my nerves that, you know, if the so-called top 6 are get punished and get points deductions and whatnot, you exactly the same way as when we got relegated, exactly the same way as how Man City supporters have been. You'll find out the true supporters when you're outside the Premier League. It's as simple as that. You will find that you will literally see the core base, because when we were down in the Championship, our attendance was 89 to 90% of what it was in the Premier League.
I've just tagged you guys in the tweet that I put out, which
I saw it the other day.
Yeah, which was my argument was everyone's screaming, "Oh, don't punish the fans," but who? I'm sorry to take over this thingy, but did fans care?
I'll go and get me pizza. I'll give you 20 minutes. Yeah.
I was gonna say no. Did fans care when it was Leeds and Portsmouth? No, but now it's the top 6. Now they care. Well, now it's don't punish. But why should it be any different? I know the punishment could be different, but there were people saying that you shouldn't punish them, but they didn't know what the punishment was. And it's like, but if you break the rules, you break the laws. Right? Exactly. One fan even said, "Oh, West Ham, Carlos Tevez, you took a punishment then." I was like, "Yeah, we did. Yeah. We took the punishment. We accepted it."
Yep.
Other fans could say it was a lenient punishment, but we took the punishment. So it's when Arsenal fans go, "Oh, is that you don't know what the punishment is? Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Wait till what goes on."
Mate, we only stopped paying for that Tevez fee 4 or 5 years ago. So, but this is what I'm saying is the fact that I'm all for these teams being relegated out of the Premier League. I'm all for it because at the end of the day,
I think that'd be it's a conversation for another day on another channel. But I think that takes too much money away from the Premier League. I'm more for adding. Fucking weights to their boots and making them realise how hard it is for other clubs.
Well, this is the thing. You take out those top 6 out of the Premier League. You bring in other new clubs into that position. It's much more entertaining because it's not so obvious every single season. That's what that's so as I know what you're saying there, Dan, but I've got to disagree with you, mate, because for example, if we got rid of the top 6 and held who in the bottom 3 and promoted those guys and brought up the top 3 of the championship, that's a much more entertaining league. Much more entertaining league.
That's probably a conversation for the midweek. I think, Bill, do you reckon we could have a midweek thing on that?
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely, I'd be up for that.
But yeah, all good points you've raised, lads. But
back to the game.
Back to the game. Yeah.
Give us your notes, man. Come on.
But what it was a 6-pointer. Albeit, it was for a Champions League, place rather than 6-pointer for relegation. So that's obviously progress in itself. But in terms of the game overall. I mean, Dennis, we watched the game together, but what did you think of West Ham's performance overall?
Again, can't fault the boys that were out there, but I think they were set up to fail by the people that own us. I think we had 1 shot on target, maybe 2. I mean, bro.
Yeah, I think it was 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, bro, come on. What more can they do? You can't have a go at them, and it is what it is.
Let's talk about the only goal then. Werner got the only goal. With a tackle from 8 yards or whatever it was. I mean, do you think the defending could have been better? Do you think we could have avoided that one, John?
Yeah.
The whole build up. To be fair, the whole build up of it, Soufal could have done better with Chilwell's run. Don't get me wrong, Chilwell did a very, very good run down the flank. But that's what he's there for. But I hate to say it because I love the bloke. I think he's done fantastically well so far this season since he came in almost 18 months ago. But Souček and Rice have got to look at themselves for not talking to each other and not making enough effort.
Balbuena, not Rice weren't playing.
Yeah, I was going to say Rice wasn't playing.
Sorry.
I was about to say
Balbuena and Souček need to look at themselves, I'll be very, very surprised if Moyes didn't say the same thing to him at half time. But to be fair, Balbuena made more of a attempt to the ball than Souček did. But again, like we were saying the other week about miscommunications within defence, that's Sunday League football. That's a Sunday League football error. That is. It really is.
It was pretty bad. I remember saying at the half time with you, Bill, that it's just not a good look. No, it's not good. And I think Souček, since Rice has been injured, Souček has been a little bit adrift. He's been driftwood, to quote Travis, which is a quality band.
I knew you were going to say that.
But Travis,
a good song.
Great band, great song, but he has been driftwood. I'm sorry.
He had a chance in the second half where he could have scored.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Well, that was one of our attempts in the first half where Azpilicueta got a block in, and that was going in. So it was checked for handball, and it would have been harsh to give that as handball. But then again,
that would have been one of the funniest own goals we've seen this weekend. It generally would have been.
Yeah,
you know, all it needed to be was Azpilicueta a yard or so back, because Mendy was. Let's not make no mistakes on this, guys. Mendy was nowhere near that.
Yeah, it was wrong.
That's going in.
Yeah.
That's going in. Any other day.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame, obviously, about the goal, because the first sort of first half hour or so, Chelsea sort of dominated, had a lot of the ball, and we couldn't keep the ball at all. But for the previous 10 minutes or so before Chelsea got the goal, we were much better, and the better side for that 10 minutes, and then they go up there for the score. So it's just disappointing that it come off the back of some good play by us.
It's West Ham all over, though, isn't it? All it takes is 20. It was literally switched off for 20 seconds. Ogbonna tried as best as he could, because he kept with Werner as much as he could in that run. But yeah, you could see it coming. You generally could see it coming. I remember just before the goal when I went, "Oh, for Christ's sake!" Just because you could, if we can watch, it's like if we can see it on the telly, how are these guys not being able to notice it when they're right on the pitch?
Yeah, and I had a couple of chances. I think Werner had he had a couple of attempts in the first half before he got the goal, and they did have a few efforts, Chelsea. So we got the half-time 1-0 to Chelsea. But I think for the majority of the second half, before the sending off, I think West Ham were far better. Getting up the pitch, getting bodies forward, but we had a number of shots, but only 2 on target, and one of them straight at Mendy. So,
you guys would have seen the graphic that came up on the screen I think it's about halfway through the second half. 50% in midfield, 33% in Chelsea's own half, and 17% in ours. That's how attacking we were at that point.
Yeah,
but we just couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, but that's something that you guys have. Something that you guys obviously missing Antonio today, and having no first team strikers available.
Not having any at all, mate. Let's not beat around the bush, man. It's not having them available. We don't have a striker. We've got a makeshift wing back. Let's be fair, to be our centre forward. We haven't got a striker, and this goes back to what Dan was saying earlier. It's just the fact that you make your bed, you lie in it. You don't. You sell one and don't bring somebody in. All right, yes, okay. You can argue that Lingard was supposed to be the replacement for him, but at the same time, what's Ben Rama done all season? I don't want to criticise him because he hasn't had a full season yet, but what's he done?
Yeah, what are you doing, Dennis?
Well, you're right, checks. You bounce them, you bounce checks. Oh, what can I do? I had to sell Sebastian Haller because all my other checks fucking bounced.
For last season's accounts, we made a loss of £289 million or whatever it was, with a 200 with almost $250,000 coming in the first place. That's how badly we were fucking about this season.
Checks, you just bounce them. Oh God, there's 100. What Upton Park money? What are you doing on my ceiling?
Give him Bud Light next week, mate. Yeah.
Heineken Blue or something, or Beck's Blue, or whatever. Honestly. Oh dear. Anyway, I'll just talk to you, John. So
I'm going to turn while you do that, I'm going to turn the fucking light on because it's getting a bit dark in it.
All right, yeah. But yeah, I think we were certainly a lot, John. We were certainly a lot brighter in the second half, but as we've said, just missing the killer instinct in front of goal.
I hope you got the Andy Carroll then. So
but mate, the killer instinct was never there in the first place. It really wasn't.
I just missed long hair. That's all it is.
And the ability on the pitch, mate. But
and the height. I mean,
don't forget that. Yeah,
I was just dating. So.
But yeah, no, it was the fact that we had nobody that could have exploited Chelsea's weaknesses, and there was a lot there today. They were really shaky.
Yeah, and so look, banter aside, Chelsea were there for the taking. They wouldn't. They were weak. They were vulnerable. They were unsure of themselves. And I think if Mickey had been playing, he would have exploited that. But we don't have Mickey every weekend, and we didn't sign anyone that could fill his shoes. So honestly, today's result goes back to the fucking board. But they're going to hide behind the Balbuena VAR result, which for me is BS. But they're going to hide behind that, and it goes down to it. We're going to finish 6th, maybe 7th, but we could have finished 4th if our owners dared to show ambition.
Yeah, exactly,
well, this is it, Matt. I mean, just Bill, should we talk about the red card now?
I'm sorry, I'm going to bring up it was BS.
Mate, it's going to be appealed. It's going to be appealed.
A mate of mine that's a Chelsea fan that benefited from that even said, mate, that was bullshit.
Yeah, we had it on our watch along, Dennis. A few Chelsea fans, they agreed. Yeah,
absolute bullshit. Liverpool fans, bullshit saying that. Honestly, that was criminal. What happened?
Well, you know what you boys were saying earlier about sort of modern day football. Obviously, we mentioned about the Super League and the top 6 and all that.
You're going to. But it's about how bad VAR is again. Yeah.
No, I think it's the refs.
Well, the rules and the refs and stuff. I think VAR is the problem. It's the implementation of the rules.
To be honest with you, man, my issue with this, with VAR, as much as I've been an advocate for it, because ever since the World Cup, I think it's proven how great it can be, but how shit it can be at the same point. Yeah. Two years later, we're still talking about the same thing. My issue with this is, when it comes to VAR, it should be natural speed.
Oh yeah, that's
because
a big problem.
Because you can see when it was natural speed, which, to be fair, VAR was showing it every now and again was the long shot of it, the wide shot, whatever you want to call it, was played at natural speed, and you can see that his foot's on there for half a second, if that. Balbuena is steadying himself, but he obviously falls backwards anyway. You look at a VAR, which is a third of the tempo that natural speed is. It's going to look worse.
Exactly. Every challenge looks worse in slow mo.
But my overriding issue with this, as I said to you, Bill, before Dan came in, was the fact that I swear there's a rule, either in the FA or the Premier League rules, that the same referee cannot referee the same fixture twice in one season. He was our referee for the away game, and he's a referee for the home game. I swear that's not right.
Yeah, but I think everyone got it wrong. VAR checked it so many times, and then obviously the ref checked it so many times. And how can you get it wrong?
Yes,
where VAR is meant to help, and they're making the wrong decisions, like the Souček against Fulham all over again.
Yeah, and also the same ridiculousness last night of Arsenal-Everton. It's not offside in any shape or form, but it wasn't a penalty either, for that matter. So it balances out from that point of view. That's when people are saying about things balancing out in football. But at the same time, as I said, at the same time, VAR can be used, is a fantastic tool. It's just the way it's being used is absolutely bullshit at the minute.
Yeah, and we've mentioned it before, mate. The standard of refereeing over this past decade in particular has been absolutely woeful.
The only reason why Kavanagh went over there was Stockley Park were in his ear saying, you're going to want to have a look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
But why? When you see it at full live, it's like, all right, yeah, it's a foul or yellow at best.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I took a refs course a few years ago, and fouls are judged on how severe they are, like reckless and stuff like that. And the ones where you should get sent off is excessive force.
Yep.
That is not an excessive challenger. And he's trying to kick the ball. He grazes his knee. It doesn't matter where you hit someone or whatever. If you're doing it excessively, then that's where the red card comes in. And Balbuena is he's trying to clear the ball. He just accidentally caught Chilwell, and then that's it.
But it should have been. It's the way that Chilwell went down at the same point. It's like he'd been shot on the head. He went down screaming. Let's not miss it.
That didn't help, but still though.
No, but this is the thing. It's just that, okay, you can argue the fact that it's corruption against the so-called Big Six and blah 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 blah. But at the same time, it's Chilwell's reaction to it. It's down to the fact that, as I say, Kavanagh shouldn't have been refereeing in the first place. But also down to the fact that you've got you shouldn't be having slow motion replays. Everybody knows, we've seen it time and time again on Match of the Day, and I'll say it again tonight. It looks worse than it actually is, because at the end of the day, Bill, as you're saying, mate, right? Balbuena's got his head down, his head goes up as he's clearing the ball over. And it's only then that he notices, which is why he tries to retract himself as quickly as possible. We talked about this the other week. Players should not be punished for body movements they physically cannot do.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Follow through bookings are ridiculous. It's literally hard. Like, for example, if a player goes in for a challenge and gets the ball, but he gets booked for the follow through, it's a half a second reaction. No one's going to be able to do it.
20 years ago, mate, it's not a red. It might not have been a foul 20 years ago.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
How can you be fouled for what is effectively a clearance?
Exactly. Yeah, but that's what we're saying, man. The game's gone.
I'm saying, but let that people that go, oh, it's a red card, but if that was a Chelsea player doing that, you'd be fucking kicking off. He's cleared the ball. He's cleared the ball.
Yeah.
It's the follow through that he's booked for. It's the follow through, which is.
But there is no follow through. If it's a tackle, then there's follow through. He's kicked the ball. There's no follow through when you kick the fucking ball upfield. You just
the follow through is upfield. The follow through is his other foot, mate. That's what I'm talking about.
But what I'm agreeing with you is that the follow through is irrelevant because he's clearing the ball.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what it's been recorded for, which is why Moyes was saying just before we went live that it's absolutely ridiculous. And I guarantee
it's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks, that red card. It'll
be appealed. It'll be appealed, and I'm guessing it's from Moyes to come out on public television and say it's ridiculous. The only logical conclusion from that is it's going to be appealed, and it should be successful. It should be, because, like we're all saying, and like for example, as you said earlier, the Chelsea support was in, the Liverpool support was saying that's not a booking. Same thing with a few. There was a couple of Spurs supporters in my chat for the watch along saying the same thing. One of them said, I can see this being a red card, but everybody agreed that it wasn't. So that we can't have a player we can't have a defender out for 3 games. We just can't, and especially under that circumstance as well.
Yeah, exactly. And whether not saying it would have changed the game, but we were in the ascendancy. Then the sending off just absolutely killed our momentum, and we couldn't arrest it back from where it was after the sending off. So even if we had 11 men throughout, not saying we would have got a draw or won, but still we were playing some decent stuff. And that last 10 minutes, as we showed in the Spurs away game, last 10 minutes, anything can happen.
Absolutely. There was a Chelsea supporter in my watch long said you guys should have won that game. Because we were absolutely perfect for a lot of things. We just didn't have the attacking threat there. But also more specifically, we were already 1-0 down at half time, so the red cards are relevant, and like you're saying, and also for that matter, we can't blame the sending off of Tammy Abraham missing an easy clearance half a yard out.
Exactly. Yeah,
and there was literally nobody around him, no one around him at all.
Yeah, plus Werner had another one in the second half where he should have buried a tap, and it was a rebound. He should have had. Yeah, he should have had 2 goals today. So
to be honest, man, he should have had a hat trick, because he had a couple of off target shots in the first half. Yeah, he should have had an hat trick today.
Yeah, so I think the sending off is ridiculous, but whether it would have changed the result, I don't know. But I think the boys. I think I can't really disagree with what you boys said. I think the players tried, and we were getting balls in the box. I think Chelsea defended well at times today, especially Rudiger, Thiago Silva had a lot of headers, and Christensen as well. I'm
sure someone's going to be coming out on Twitter, if they haven't already, saying how much the Chelsea side cost versus how much our side cost and all that sort of stuff. Just to reiterate the fact that how well we're doing this season. Let's not face it. All right, we haven't beaten Chelsea in either fixture, but at the same time, conceding 4 goals over 2 games against Chelsea, that's not bad. That's not bad in any shape or form. It's not brilliant.
No, but we're still in the fight, lads. It's not like we're, our Champions League hopes are over. They're not.
Exactly.
So we're 3 points off. We're 3 points off Chelsea now. We've all played the same amount of games, apart from Everton. Who've got a game in hand. So 5 games to go, and let's win them. Try and win them all, lads, and see where it takes us.
Chelsea have got an easy run, and we've got an easy run. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. Well, on paper, it's an easy run. It's not, as we all know, there's no easy games in the Premier League at all. But
especially running.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument that there's 15 points up for stake, and if we get 10 out of those 15, I'll be very happy with that. We will smash our all-time highest Premier League points tally ever if we get 10 points out of the next 5.
I don't see why we couldn't. Let's wrap it up now, lads. So, Dennis, any final thoughts, mate?
No. Just
I prefer not to speak.
Just
the one time.
Just let's get as whoa. Let's get as many points between now and then as possible and really fucking sticking to it.
Exactly.
Stick it to them, like Jack Black in School of Rock. Let's stick it to the man. Stick it to the man. Come on.
One thing I do want to say, actually, Bill, which we talked about before we went live, is as fantastic as Fabianski's been, he's worried me the last couple of games. He really has. The amount of times he's not.
Dennis, wait for this.
No, wait, come on. Hang on, Dan. No, wait. If you want, if your life in politics, mate, full well you should hear the other person out before you say anything. Bill's fucked off. What's coming.
Okay, bro. My point is that my only point is tonight.
Hang on. Let me make my point before you concede it. Thank you. It's as fantastic as the saves he was been making today. And he made against Newcastle. He's dropped the ball a lot more than any of us would have expected over the last couple of fixtures, and that's what I'm saying. He's worrying me from that point of view, because when a back line is nervous, the goalkeeper makes mistakes like that.
Yeah, only thing I'll say is again, I thought look, last couple of games, he's been nervous, but he's been quality before then. But bro, I'd love us to be like, don't worry, we're getting Johnson at West Brom, but we're not, because we're going to rest our laurels on Fabianski. So I agree with you, bro, is what I'm saying, basically.
Happy with that, John?
No, because you don't understand what I'm saying.
We get it. At the end of the day, man, it's not very. At the end of the day, I thought you were going to tear me to pieces, but you agree with me. So, because the whole point of this is we're not reviewing it over an overall season. We're reviewing it how he played today. And as I say, he made some fantastic saves. A lot of this, let's not beat around the bush. Some of the saves he made was fucking daisy cutters. So he couldn't not save them. But at the same time, it worries me when you see goalies trying to do the Superman stuff, and they're not trying to put their hands on the ball.
Yeah, you got his hands onto a few of them today.
Yeah, so, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If he was making mistake after mistake, then but he wasn't.
But what I'm saying is that this is the argument for signing Sam Johnson.
Yeah,
I'm all for that, bro. So
Nick Pope and all that rest of it.
Yeah. Nick Pope, he ain't coming to us. He ain't. But Sam Johnson, that could happen. Yeah,
I think we'd all take him. So thanks guys for joining us. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to Gash Football if you're new. Like this video and enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.